Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's up everyone today? It's the Man Child. Alright, so today after review, I'm going to go over my Masterverse, new Eternia Mekaneck. That's part of the Masterverse Wave 12 series of figures. Look at this, incredible. I can't believe we finally have Mekaneck in the Masterverse line. I said the same thing, we got him in Origins. Mekaneck was always a favorite of mine going back as a child in the 80s. I remember a particular Christmas getting figures like, I want to say Mekaneck, Buzz Off, maybe Jitsu and Fisto. I was so excited just to see that arrangement of figures coming out in the vintage line in the 80s as a kid during Christmas. And yeah, 40 plus years later, here we go. The Master Universe line just, I can't believe it's as big as it is, whether it's what the classics did years ago, the Origins, and now Masterverse. He looks incredible, though. I mean, just the overall design, the look, again, for the Masterverse aesthetics. But I like, too, from what I've seen, the way they're going about the cybernetic neck or pieces. So you have individual pieces now to to make his neck extension. So of course the Vintage had that twist action feature. The Origins got rid of it and just put on a little snap extended neck piece with the ball peg, which is fine. And now you can do more with that. And what I'll do too is I'll bring in the Origins Mekaneck later with the Masterverse, and we'll switch some parts around and put the longer extension with this and that on the Origins, see if the armor fits and all good stuff. But yeah, I'm just so excited to have Mekaneck in hand. So if you're not familiar with newer Masterverse boxes since Wave 10, maybe 11, or maybe 10 now, they have a limited window, but a lot of cool art. So check out the art. Once again, Mekaneck, he has his neck somewhat raised, has this club slash telescope over the shoulder, has a shield now with a, looks like an image of the Ground Ripper, the head of the eagle on the Ground Ripper, which is blue. And if you spin a package around too, you can see here on this side, here's a larger image, again, of that blue Ground Ripper. And I think that's paying homage to the limited or exclusive Ground Ripper in, I want to say in 83, it was an Argentina exclusive. Very rare piece, where the Ground Ripper we had in the USA was green. Of course, the Origins came out with one. And now here's a quick look with the picture images on the back of the box and a Mekaneck figure inside. So once again, yeah, we have Mekaneck with a couple extensions going on, or his neck extended looking up. And another thing too that's also cool with these neck extensions, if down the road you buy multiple Mekanecks, you can make them as high as you want because of the snap and ball peg system. You can make a 5-foot neck if you got enough of these Mekaneck figures. I don't know how many pieces are in the box, but or maybe 3D printed one or custom ones. It's just so much you can do now with that neck setup. Looks like you can also hold the shield on the back of the armor, which is interesting. Comes with his iconic mace telescope thing. Once again, you see him holding his hand. And here he is through his enhanced visor, looking through his telescope mace. And over here too now, it's also really cool with this telescope mace is you can now use these neck extensions on this telescope and make it a flexible periscope. So you can put a couple on the neck or one or two on here or all of them on here from what I've seen in promotional images. That's also neat. Of course, we'll try that out. And then once again, here he is with that shield with the ground or the Road Ripper head. And here's a close-up of the new Masterverse Mekaneck bio. You want to pause and read that. And then dropping down, here's all 4 figures. It's going to be part of this Wave 12 series. I have Battle Armored He-Man, Mekaneck, and Triclops. And as I get a chance to review them, I will. But the secret figure is Prince Keldor. And he's not going to be officially released until the Revolution cartoon comes out on Netflix, which I think is January 24th or 25th, I want to say. Then there's a little extra art on the right-hand side of the box, looking from the window. Mekaneck crouching behind a rock with his neck extended up. And again, it's pretty cool how it curves and it's flexible instead of just that straight pipe piece. And then his head retracted into his body. All right, now here's a quick look with Mekaneck at a package and all accessories it comes with. And so he comes with 5 of these neck extension pieces in total. I thought he'd come with 8 or 10, but yeah, why would I expect that? Yeah, I can definitely see these being printed up on Etsy in a couple months down the road when his figure's officially out. I'll be buying a bunch of those. And now bringing in Mekaneck for a closer look with the head sculpt, eye, the visor, the helmet. I mean, it's just your iconic Mekaneck. It looks no different than the Origins or Classics. So I may be a little slimmer or something from Masterverse, but absolutely almost exact and perfect. I'm happy with it. But you can see even the chrome plating on the front of the visor, which is cool, which I don't think the Classics had that. I think it was just, mine's in card, but they just left it silver. So this actually has the chrome plating. I don't even know if that's vac metal. I think it's just chrome plating. Uh, you know, pretty decent face sculpt. Not much there, but you know, for what you can see in painting now, this helmet is all part of the sculpt. Yeah, it looks like it's all just one piece as far as the articulation. You know, we go left to right, go all the way down about that far, and he hits this front piece and back. But spinning him around, you can just see it, a silver visor, and it's all sculpted. It's just painted around. Nothing, again, is separate. He's got a little vent piece in the back there. Yeah, really cool design. Feels just like Mekaneck we all grew up with. And here's a little closer look with the head popped off the body. So just a standard Masterverse ball peg. You just see that nothing. Yeah, it's just everything's all part of its own sculpt. Nothing comes apart. And before I put the head back on, here's a quick look at the Mekaneck standard Masterverse ball peg setup. And head comes on and off easy. Now, checking out the armor for a second. Yeah, once again, iconic Mekaneck armored, going all the way back to the vintage classic. Some kind of slim, you know, to fit. Just a little more bulkier, but I'm assuming he has a typical Masterverse style or New Eternia style buck. We'll take this off in a second, but you can just see all the details. It's let's say it's soft. Well, again, we'll take it off. So if you spin it around, there's two straps where you can remove it, and he also has a little plug-in for the back, which is shield, which I'll show soon. So as far as taking this armor off, looks like there's two little snaps on each side, and I'm going to pop it apart like this. And then it looks like we could flip the whole armor over the head without removing it. And here's a look with the armor off the body, so you can just see how flexible, soft it is. We know where it clips together. There's also a little holder on the back. It has like an image in the back of the box for the shield, which put on a little bit. You can see the overall design and the silver highlights on both sides around the circuitry here and in the middle. Again, very iconic at a vintage figure. And now bringing Mekaneck back in again without the armor, so you can see the overall chest and buck design. It's own type of sculpt, unique mechanical look, you know, or suit that Mekaneck is wearing. I love the color on it. It's like a metallic blue. The overall whole body. Now it's the buck. Looks like I want to say typical New Eternia style. This smaller buck, but again, just sculpted different from Mekaneck. I was hoping it would be a little larger, like the Skeletech figure design, which I'm assuming maybe the Battle Armor He-Man in this line might have, and we'll check it out once I get the review on him. But yeah, it's just a typical smaller aesthetic, and it'll look like that with this armor on him. Anyway, it is cool. So we already went over the head. Let's leave the armor off for a second. So as far as the articulation, all right, we can spin at the buck, go all the way down and back. We can spin at the waist. Take a look at the arms too. It has its own type of yeah, sculpting and unique arms. As far as the articulation with the arm, we go up, down, forward, back. Has a bicep swivel. Can bend all the way up the elbow to the face. He has okay, so we have a different. You can see the bracer on this side. And it looks like. Mine looks like it's glued on, but no, it's not part of the sculpt. Looks like you want to take it off and break that glue. You can. I don't know if there's a peg under there, but it is different. You know, it's not part of the sculpt anyway. The left arm's all the same as far as, let's check out the articulation. Okay, everything's the same. But now this one, he has a different bracer, which is that New Eternia Battle Armored He-Man, I want to say bracer to hold that shield again. So now, yeah, the shield's the same issue as the Battle Armor one, where it can't spin all around. It can only like spin back and forth, which a lot of people didn't like that, but they use the same exact setup. And of course, both bracers they're also painted or molded in another type of metallic blue color. It's different from the suit. And moving back to the hands, so Mekaneck comes with two semi-weapon gripping hands, I always call them, and he comes with a pair of punching fists as well, which I'll bring in soon. And these are on hinge joints, so they can spin around, and the hinge joints go in and out on both of them. And yeah, this bracer too is its own piece, but again, it's pegged or glued in. I guess if you want to take it off, you could. And as far as the peg, so these are okay. So there's the pegs. They're using a larger style peg that's different from the Motu Origins. So putting the hand back on, moving back down to the waist, so we know he spins at the waist. He has a New Eternia style Viking He-Man belt, but molded in a metallic green color. Which I think goes good with the suit. Has a 2000X style long or He-Man loincloth, right, molded in black. Moving down to the legs, so yeah, the legs kind of have their own aesthetics going on as part of the suit. As far as the articulation, so go all the way out with a split. Wow, he's really loose and flexible in the joints. Kick all the way forward like that. Go all the way back. Has the thigh cut there. Can bend all the way up at the knee on both sides. His knees are really tight. All right. Has Viking or He-Man style boots, molded in a gray color. Has some silver laces sculpted in, but painted silver. As Mekaneck always had like silverish boots. Of course, you can spin it the boot, and you can also heat it up and remove it at the peg and put different boots on. Addis Mekaneck if you didn't like them, or just try something different. And then as far as the foot articulation, you can go all the way up and down, and it can rock side to side. Okay, so putting Mekaneck's armor back on for a minute, bringing in Stinkor. Obviously, the reason why I want to bring those two in for comparison is to compare the two armored side by side. Now, most people know, collected the Motu line as kids, or where we are as adults. Always known that Stinkor and Mekaneck, figures like Mekaneck Stinkor, shared the same type of armor retooling. But they did not do that with these two figures. Now, to be fair, Stinkor was, his character was in the Revelation show, and that's what this figure is based on. And of course, Mekaneck is New Eternia. But it would have been easier for him just to use two different, use the same retooled armor all over again. They did, and they're completely different. They have, designs that sort of mimic each other a little bit, but yeah, totally different. Even Stinkor is a lot larger, and of course, his has that tank set up in the back, and Mekaneck has, the hole for the shield. But it's kind of cool they didn't do that. It's its own piece, and so is Stinkor's now. So, moving on, taking a little closer look at Mekaneck's new accessories. So, of course, he comes with, once again, his iconic club / telescope, or calling it a periscope. As a kid with the vintage Mekaneck, or with the Origins remastered, I had no idea this was supposed to be a periscope. So I always thought it was some type of club with I used to pretend this would fire energy rays or something out of the opening. But yeah, it looks very iconic to the vintage one, or similar to what the classics did, but a little bit of a redesign from what I can see. It's casted in just a flat, or maybe a metallic gold color. I can see some sparkles in it. Yeah, it's a solid piece here. There's no eyeglass. You got to make believe. Of course, there's an opening, and so this will come apart. There's the peg, so you can connect those neck pieces in. But cool piece, Once again, it's always iconic with a newer Mekaneck figure. And then as far as alternative hands, it just comes with a spare pair of punching fists for the left and right side with them larger pegs that a lot of the Masterverse or the New Eternia figures have. And the hinge joints just go in and out. I don't usually use these, but he does get them. And now here's a closer look at that new shield that they give Mekaneck for the Masterverse line. Again, it has a similar shape or design going back to the New Eternia Battle Armor He-Man. Of course, with that snap-on peg, it's going to snap into the left wrist bracer, which we'll do pretty soon. Yeah, so here we go. Once again, we have the Ground or Road Ripper painted in blue, going back to that, or paying homage, I want to say, to that Argentina exclusive. And it also pays homage going back to Mekaneck sitting on the ground, a Road Ripper, in the 1984, possibly 85 JCPenney's Christmas catalog. And that's sort of where they come up with the idea, inspiration, to put Mekaneck with the Ground Ripper in the Origins. And now, I guess they had this image on the shield, from what I'm guessing. Shield also has some battle damage. That's what these scratches are. It didn't come like that. It's part of the design. And you can see some other patterns with the red and silver going back to Mekaneck's armor. And lastly, and the most important piece or pieces is, of course, Mekaneck's neck extension or cybernetic extension pieces. So I think it's a pretty neat design. He went about this Masterverse Mekaneck this way with the individual pieces. It would have been cool if they were a little longer, or they gave you longer or shorter ones, but it doesn't matter. You can make them up. And yeah, they have a lot more flexibility with the ball joint system. So you get a total of 5. They're each one's about an inch long or so by the time you snap each piece on top of one another. Here's a closer look at the details, the circuitry, and they all look the same on every piece, which would make sense. So yeah, you can just see, and they're all articulated. So you have a double ball joint right here, and then on the inside, there's the peg hole or socket. And yeah, that's it. They're just going to snap together, right, like this, real easy. And look at that flexibility. So there's 2 together just to start, and now a third one, and now the 4th piece, and then the 5th piece. And now here's a look with all 5 pieces they include together as part of that cyberneck extension. So look at the flexibility this has, and how much you can turn it, sort of a S-shaped, or you can twist, spin it. That's pretty cool. And you still have the free ball peg. And once again, you got extra Mekanecks or some custom parts, or the Origins parts, or probably even classics. You can extend this and make the neck as long as you want, and all kinds of designs and shapes. Now, with the 5 pieces they include with this Mekaneck figure, you're going to have a total of, so it's 5 inches long, from the bottom socket or the connector to the top of the ball peg, as you can see. And now moving back to his club slash periscope. So we know this comes apart here, and with all 5 pieces together, I'm just going to leave the 5. You can put 1, 3, 4, 5. We'll just leave 5 for now. You're just going to plug this end in like that. Then, of course, plug the main scope end in. And there we go. Now that club slash periscope is a flexible periscope that Mekaneck can look over things with if he didn't want to extend his neck and look around corners and kinds of good stuff like that, or it could be some kind of super weapon. That's a really cool idea, once again, with the Masterverse. Not only having these small sections and fully articulated, but what you can do to snap into this periscope tool. So once again, moving back on to the Mekaneck figure, let's start setting them up with some of these weapons and accessories. So going back to that Road or Ground Ripper shield, as I already mentioned, the peg's just going to snap into this left wrist bracer. And now I'm going to put his iconic club slash periscope weapon in his right hand for now. And now here's a quick look at battle pose. Once again, with Mekaneck set up with his iconic club, periscope in hand, shield, the new shield on the left hand, and his neck without the extensions on. So I want to take a look at that. So as far as the shields, I already mentioned, going back to the battle armor He-Man. So yeah, all it can do in this wrist bracer is just spin all around. You have, it's not going to spin left or right or up and down like if it was a piece that would wrap on the elbow, which is fine because you have all this extra articulation now on the arm to pose it how you want, between a combination of the joints and how the shield spins. I don't mind it. And then, of course, you can take the shield off, and going back to the armor, there's a little place to store it on the back. And then it would look like that, and you can spin it left or right or keep it straight up and down, however you want to pose it. Okay, so I broke all the neck extensions apart, as you can see. Just put the shield back on the wrist bracer. I'm going to leave that club in right hand for now. Let's start building Mekaneck's neck up with his cyber extensions. So just to show how the first one goes on with the head off, it's just going to go right over the ball peg and snap down real easy. And then, of course, we'll put the head on top of that one. And now here's a look with Mekaneck's first cyber neck extension on. And as far as the articulation with the head and piece, it's, plenty. More than you can want. Of course, the head can spin back and forth, look all the way down, up, and the neck extension, too. Just the amount of articulation flexibility it has, really cool. And here's a look with Mekaneck with 2 neck extension pieces they give you. So once again, look at that articulation and just what you can do with it. And now here's a look with 3 neck extension pieces. Now here's a look with 4 neck extension pieces. I'm just so exciting. It's unbelievable what you can do with Mekaneck with this setup. I can't get over it. And now here's the 5th neck extension with the head on. Just incredible. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, you can spin. I already went through it with all individual pieces, soaking the head up and down. Everything is the same as whether you put it on 1, 3, or 5. But just you could look down. Just the way you can curve this in an S shape and look backwards all the way down like that, put the head forward so you look behind corners and over stuff. And again, you had multiple extensions. You can make this head as tall as you want. You probably have to put them on a figure stand because it is getting a little heavy, and as you go up, some of these are looser than others, and you can always put some putty or joint fix or something to tighten them up, piece of tape, not a big deal, but that is so cool. So before I try out the neck extensions on a periscope and show you those details, of course, let's bring in the origins for comparison. Now, I wanted to try the armors and, of course, the neck extensions between the origins and the heads, too, between both figures. Well, what I wanted to see is, what it would look like if the origins Mekaneck neck extension piece is on a Masterverse. And this is also a custom Etsy Mekaneck extension that fits the Masterverse origins, or probably maybe the classics too. So we'll try both of these on the Masterverse Mekaneck 2 with these neck extensions. It would make sense to put these pieces first on the neck and then build up these smaller sections. And what's cool with this one is just silver, so you're not worried about matching paint, to where the Origins one has its own paint to match a suit, which of course is different from the Masterverse, right? It's darker and this one's lighter. So let's mix some parts around, see what that looks like between these 2 figures. All right, so here's that custom Etsy neck extension piece on the Masterverse Mekaneck with his neck extensions on and his head. I had to put him on a figure stand, as you notice. He's getting really heavy, but yeah, look what you can do. So not only is this piece flexible, can spin around, but you also have these individual pieces as well. Now the silver is a little bit off, where this is a darker color and this is a brighter, silver. But it can still work. So you want to try something like that, you can always just customize your Mekaneck. Totally possible. And now bringing in the Origins neck piece, so you can see how easy that snaps into these, and they work perfect. As I already mentioned, the blue collar is a little off, not a big deal. And it's this too, it's a different silver from these pieces. So if you want to paint this or something like that, you know, use this piece on here, but it makes more sense just to get more of these pieces with other Mekaneck figures on the road. But let's snap this on that body and see what that looks like. And now here's a look at that. Of course it works, same ball peg. But again, this piece is the two different colors between the neck collar and this neck extension piece. Almost not even worth it. Just wait for more of these, or you have to paint it or something. But that's what that would look like with the Masterverse head. And I also wanted to show a quick comparison between the Origins head and his neck extension piece on, and of course the Masterverse. Let's have a couple of them pieces on with the head. So yeah, you can see the overall design, very identical, but the Origins is a lot, larger, and this one's more narrow, which I thought. And yeah, they both have chrome plating on the visors. And now moving back to the Masterverse Mekaneck body with the setup. So of course I put all the individual neck extensions on again, but now I put the Motu Origins Mekaneck head on. So if you want to use that, it fits perfect, articulates well. Doesn't look bad either. The color's a little bit off with his particular hood over the armor, but it's not that bad and can work really well if you like the Origins head on this Masterverse figure instead. And now here's another look with the Masterverse Mekaneck body, but I put the Origins Mekaneck armor on that body, kept the Origins head on. Let's put a couple neck extensions to give you an idea. And we know this fits as well, but again, the colors are off. But if you wanted to use the Origins armor and head on this Masterverse body with Mekaneck or his head or however you want to mix it up, it works perfect. It looks really good too, the armor for Origins, because it just holds up. So does the head. And now moving on to the Origins Mekaneck body. So yeah, I put the Masterverse armor on the Origins, which fits perfect. I put the Origins neck extension piece on because of the blue collar. That straight piece, just want to use that. And then here's the Masterverse head. So once again, it fits that just as good, as full articulation, can move all around. So if you want to display Mekaneck with that setup, it works really well. And now here's the Origins Mekaneck with the Masterverse armor on head. And of course, I put all 5 neck extension pieces on. You can add this too as well. But again, I don't like the colors off. I'm going to leave it alone, but articulation works really well. And yeah, so awesome. Those pieces fit on the Origins. Now here's a look again with the Origins Mekaneck, but I put his armor back on, his head, and just used all 5 neck extension pieces from the Masterverse and the Origins Mekaneck piece with the blue collar. So if you want to use that with the head armor and that setup, can also work as well. You can see all the articulation, how it works. So moving back to the Masterverse Mekaneck with his armor back on, his head. Of course, I took the neck extensions off for now. Here's a quick comparison between the Masterverse and my in-card Classics Mekaneck, which is always an awesome figure. Now, he comes with his own unique neck extensions, but the question is whether you had a Mekaneck out of package or not, you want to mix parts. Will these fit? Well, I just checked it out. Now, here's a classic Skeletor, which has the same ball peg as Mekaneck. And no, these will not fit a Classics because they're too loose. And that's usually the theme between Masterverse and Classics. So, for example, going back to the Masterverse Mekaneck, I pulled the head off and I took that Skeletor head. The Classics heads can usually fit on the Masterverse, but you got to heat them up and push them down. They're a little tight, but they do work. Going back to the Classics or Masterverse heads, like Mekaneck on a Skeletor body, see, it's usually too loose and does not fit without modification or tape or something. It's kind of what you get. So no, these are not going to fit. They're really loose. Again, you'd have to modify them or something to use these on a Classics figure or your Classics Mekaneck, if that's what you want to do with those neck extension pieces. So now moving back to the Masterverse Mekaneck with his spyglass or periscope in hand, so you can see that's how it was designed to be used, like that, or a club. It's going to put it in the left hand for now. I took the shield out and just put it on the back. So it's kind of how he's would use that particular periscope as a spying tool. And so obviously that's without the neck extensions. Now, you want to use the neck extensions on Mekaneck, whether you want to use 1, 3, or 5 or whatever. It's not going to really work because obviously you want this, like he's looking through the scope from the back to his visor. And once his neck is extended, it's going to be too high, so it's not going to look right or work. And now here's a final look with that periscope setup with the extendable neck pieces you can adapt on now. And then, of course, you have the eye-seeing piece at the end. Of course, Mekaneck's neck is retracted into the body because, once again, you're not going to use both pieces and put this club periscope up to the eye. But here's the problem. It's really heavy. So not only did I have to put Mekaneck on a figure stand, as I already did, as I started using the neck extension pieces because they're mentioned really heavy, but even the articulation of the elbow alone with this piece, and I switched it to the right arm for something different. Left arm's all the same, just to show you how it would look. Kind kind of turn the head that way. And yeah, what's cool with this, like now he can look over a wall if he didn't want to use his neck extension, and or up, however you want to position it. And now for curiosity or some fun, so I just used 2 neck extension pieces, you can see with that, and it made it a lot easier to hold in the hand. And then I put the other 3 on the neck and twisted the head, look through the periscope. So you can, use a couple neck extension or 3 on the body and then 2 on this or vice versa. And yeah, that can work as well. I mean, I guess with the neck extended, why would you need this? But if you wanted to position them with your articulation with some neck pieces on, looking through his visor in this periscope, you could do that. So that would work with 2 or 3 maybe. And then if you want to put more on this, you'd have to support it over a wall for your diorama or on a reviewing or just for fun. Okay, so that was my overall review on the new Master Universe, new Eternia Mekaneck figure. I cannot ask for a better version or redesign for Mekaneck in the Masterverse new Eternia line. It's everything I could want and more. I absolutely love the new redesign of the suit. Even though it's just different from the normal muscle aesthetics, I could have just went that route, just painted it blue. But no, it has its own sculpting, unique design. Kind of wish you would have had a little bigger chest like that Skeletech figure. I was hoping the newer Masterverse figures would go that route, but it's okay. Mekaneck's fine. Kind of reminds me a little bit of 2000X where the figures were slimmer, and I did like that design. Yeah, you have the iconic Mekaneck armor, which not only fits the Masterverse, looks great, but also the Origins. And of course, all the Origin stuff can fit this Mekaneck as I showed. Both neck, heads, in armor pieces. Really awesome. This particular neck extension piece or individual pieces that they designed for this Masterverse Mekaneck is awesome. It's just, I could not ask for a better idea for neck extension pieces. At first I thought, oh, it'd be cool to have a real long piece or short piece, like I showed with the Etsy custom one had, or the Classics had, or Origins. You could still buy them online and retrofit. It will fit this Mekaneck, at least the Origins and the Etsy one. The Classics going to be, I think, actually the Classics Mekaneck one will probably be too tight, like the heads I showed with the Skeletor, and that will work. But these aren't going to fit the Classics without modifications I showed. So it's that backwards thing with the head and ball pegs. And this club periscope idea too is really cool. With you can use the neck extension pieces on that, and make it a tool that can now look over walls if you want to use as neck extension. And again, the more Mekanecks or custom pieces you can get, the longer you can make this piece and the neck extension pieces for Mekaneck. But it does make the figure really heavy, so you're going to have to use figure stands and support this, piece as well with something under another figure stand if you want to set them up on a diorama. I like the shield they add, even though it's just another redesign again off the Battle Armor, new Eternia He-Man. But going back to that homage with the blue Ground Ripper from that JCPenney catalog, or with the Origins, how they put the Mekaneck 2-pack together. I think it's great. Colors, everything. I couldn't be happier. So I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, take care.